Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's go.
Round one. Fight.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crypto Street Podcast. Here are your hosts, Killer Whale, Prince, and Crypto Dale.
And remember to tip your waitress.
Yo-ho, what's up, everybody listening out there? What'd you guys think of that bomb-ass new intro? It's pretty sweet, huh? Thanks for tuning in. Beautiful, beautiful day in Iowa. I'm like Prince last episode, I was in a sweatshirt today. A hooded one, as a matter of fact.
A hooded one.
And that's unusual for January 20th. Prince, what's going on in Canada, man?
Snow is
I heard
melting.
you laugh first, so that's why I called you out.
Yeah, snow's melting. I got some shorts on. It's
What?
probably about +5 out, so I'm like living it up, right?
Is this +5 Celsius or Fahrenheit, please, for the record?
I don't know, Canadian temperature. I'm not a
Canadian
frickin'
Fahrenheit?
weatherman. I'm not a
So
weatherman.
it's 5 polar bears.
As we've established.
I'm good at about one thing in my life, and that's just kind of playing markets. I'm not good at much else.
What about hockey?
hockey? Well, that was past. I'm not good anymore.
Prince was super legit at hockey, for people who don't know.
Yeah. For anyone listening, if I know a lot of hockey executives in the NHL are listening, Prince still could get down and skate.
Prince could play goalie,
guard
start
that
at
goal,
goalie for
so.
any of the NHL teams today, in the playoffs, in the Stanley Cup Finals, and he would probably do pretty damn well, to be honest.
I don't know. I got a
think
buddy
so, too.
who's playing with Arizona now. He's in their farm system, and he's a goalie. He's got called up to play for the Coyotes a few times, and the work ethic, man.
Wow.
Like, I never had the work ethic. He's a year younger than me. Young guy. The work ethic is insane on these pros. And that's why hockey never
Yeah, it
lasted
is.
for me, and it's insane. They got to drive like none other.
Yo, so like even as a goalie, like what do you do as a goalie to...
Oh, you're
I mean-
working out. I think off-ice workouts were probably the biggest thing. So, like, I remember growing up, it would be the season would end, and then you would have about 5 months to train for the next season, and about 4.5 of those months would be spent in the gym, probably twice a day, and then you'd be on the ice at least twice a week, really. So you got a pretty heavy schedule, right? You wake up, you go to the gym,
Nice.
then you go on the ice, then you go back to the gym, and then
Is
you
it a lot of like
relax.
flexibility as a goalie? Like, do you do a lot of like splits
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
stretching
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
So, like,
I would think that's
I remember
important.
I used to do yoga as well. Some pretty good looking instructors, female instructors. So it was nice, but
Now
Yeah,
watch
be
your
careful.
yeah, I got to
shots.
watch myself. Twitter police will come out.
You can't be
but,
calling people
you know,
attractive.
Yeah, yoga was wicked though. I learned a lot from yoga, even just bringing it into trading, because it's a lot of just kind of calming yourself and your mind and all this stuff. So it's nice. There's a good relay into
Did
it
you
all.
do anything like reaction time training? Because I would think that would be super important for like your glove hand. Like that always like blew my mind, is like how goalies
Yeah.
like scoop things with their glove. It seems like partially like chance, where you just kind of like swipe it and you're like you get the timing down eventually, but it's not like an exact science, right?
It's one of those things, right? So some of these guys, they shoot so hard that trying to be completely reactionary is almost impossible at times. So, being a goalie, there's a lot of math involved, even if you think about it, because, you're playing your angles, your depth, how much trying to net your takeaway, right? You try to simplify the game as much as possible, because if you're just trying to be reactionary all the time, you're probably going to get scored.
Well, it's kind of like they say like a soccer goalie during a shootout. You just have to pick a direction and dive that direction. If you wait,
Yeah, you just gotta
if you
go.
wait for the ball to actually start moving to choose you're too late regardless of the side you pick.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
those guys
trading
can
too, in a
really-
way, where it's like if
It
you
is.
wait too long, you miss the move.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I like, I give a lot of credit to being a goalie growing up, to my, being able to be a good trader, because so much of, being a goalie, you're the only guy out there who is in your position, right? You have the spotlight on you all the time. So if you make a mistake, the entire place is going to see you make that mistake. Whereas, you have the rest of the players on the ice, they can just go off the ice and hide. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So as a goalie, you got a lot of extra pressure on you, right? And you got to be able to handle that. So
Yeah.
I think that has really helped me into my trading and all that.
All right, so again, everyone, thank you for listening to Crypto Street Hockey Cast. Just kidding. Killer, what's good, man? Out in LA.
Everything's
What do you
great,
got?
man. I'm for people who can't see, it looks like there's some glorious sunlight peeking through the windows there in Iowa. The weather looks amazing. The weather's pretty nice here too. Everything's
Does.
good. I've been chilling. It's been like a wild week. Obviously we had that big dip earlier in the week in crypto, which was kind of a wild way to start it. I think it caught everybody off guard. I was tweeting something out today though, which is something I've been thinking about. As we start to recover from this dip, that's going to be very important in terms of investor psyche because that was a really bad dip. I mean, we dipped about 30 to 50% in about 2 days. That is an extreme correction. You can't even call it a correction.
I would say that's the worst dip I've seen.
Yeah.
I think
in my time.
to me, yeah, this one parlays into the dip experience back when we hit 1,200 or 1,000 or so, and then China came out banning withdrawals on the exchanges, and this was back like last January. And this kind of, to me, it felt really similar because that one was really scary too. And that one, it was vicious. It was fast.
Yeah. And what I'm thinking too is like, as we start to recover today, I mean, you see Ethereum back like up near 1,200, Bitcoin's up near 13,000, which is not like a complete recovery, but it's a pretty good recovery. And if we can kind of complete this recovery and get back to the prices we were at before, or get back to like all-time highs in some coins, I think that's going to be super bullish because, I mean, think about it. If a 30 to 50% dip in 2 days does not scare you completely out of crypto, what's it going to take at that point? I mean, these people are going to be so die hard. Is it going to take an 80% crash in a day to like get people to leave it for good? And so that's going to have a big impact on investor psyche. I mean, you're going to go forward and the market's going to dip like 30%, 40%, which again are still big dips, but people are going to go, oh, this is a great buying opportunity. And I think buy them up and that's going to be reflected in price action.
And those dips, they're going to happen, right? And I think we've said it a lot. That's the mark of a healthy market. If something just goes up and it doesn't ever go down, that's when you really got to be scared.
Yeah.
So when you get these extreme shakeouts, then you get to see, okay, what is the sentiment in the market? Well, now we're kind of seeing buyers step in, and they're coming in and they're pushing prices back up. So we're seeing, okay, you know what? Really, we're still pretty bullish in a lot of senses, right? We've had this wicked shakeout, and now we're going to see if we can recover and kind of keep on pushing like we have many other times in the past when we have these good shakeouts.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing at the end of the day because it was getting a little ridiculous.
It's funny because, thinking back on me, if this was 6 months ago, I would have fucking totally sold some shit and, tried to catch some dip somewhere else or get out of a position. But, this time around, I felt that the things that I had were, even with the dip on most of them, I was still either in profit just a tinge or just barely lost some money on it. So it felt really good on my end to know that when you get into something in a great position, it's really easy to ride those dips.
To the upside, they're so amazing that even if you dip like 30, 40% from then, like you said, your returns are still good. It's like way better than like a stock market return.
That's right. So those listening, we do not have a guest today. So unfortunately, you're stuck with us three. We're just going to kind of, we put a tweet out asking for some questions. We got a couple other things that we're going to talk about. So the first thing that we're going to kind of touch base on is this. We all want to talk about this Telegram ICO. That's where the pod is formed on. That's where we chat. We have the baby pod on there. All three of us are on there a lot. We've got different groups we're in, stuff like that. So I don't know which one of you wants to lead it off.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, Telegram is one of the leading messaging apps in the world. They have a ton of users. To give you an idea of how popular Telegram is, at one point, they accounted for 40% of Iran's internet traffic. 40%.
Wow.
Was just people using
crazy.
Telegram. And the reason behind that is you look at some nations like that where, I mean, there's maybe some suppression of opinion, and maybe it's tougher to say what you really want to say and with as much honesty as you want to. But Telegram is an encrypted messaging app. The founder is a Russian fella. I think his name is Pavel Durov, and I'm so sorry if I messed that up, but I'm pretty sure that's his name. Super smart, like young Russian guy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he had to flee the country, actually, because he got into some kind of dispute about like selling equity in a different company he raised or a different company he built. Anyway, so Telegram, this like really popular messaging app, is now going to be conducting an ICO. So they are going to have their own token. I believe the token is going to be TON. I think it stands for Telegram Open Network or something like that. Pronounced ton, obviously. But anyway, this is important because Telegram has a ton of users. And so, no pun intended, but so they're going to be sending this out, advertisements for this ICO to hundreds of millions of people. Like so many people use Telegram. I wish I had more concrete stats, but it's incredibly popular. And so this is going to be a big thing just for the widespread adoption of blockchain technology and knowledge of the industry, because they're going to be getting this message out to so many people. And regardless of how their ICO does, which by the way, I'm super excited about the ICO, but it's going to be a lot of exposure.
What are they targeting to raising? It's something like 1.2 billion.
It's actually just got raised to 2 billion.
Oh,
is their target.
Jeez. So they're going right out of the gates hard, and they're going to try to dethrone Tezos on the biggest ICO runner.
Oh,
so
I think
so.
they're
Yeah,
easily going to.
I would mirror that. It looks like they're trying to create a payment platform using multi-blockchain that they expect that will compete with Visa and MasterCard. So I mean, that right there just goes to show you the level that they kind of want to get on. So
Well,
And they're
here's
claiming
the
to
thing
have
that they
some
got.
very advanced technology, right?
Yeah, they have a working product. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it's huge. Most of these ICOs we see in the market, there is no working product. There's nothing. It's complete speculation, right? So here we have an ICO that is actually, going to be on something pretty big. So, that 2 billion figure that they're looking to raise for an ICO, I think it's probably pretty doable just because of what they're
I think
rocking out
easily.
with
And the thing is
platform.
too, like that's a lot of money to raise, but given how established Telegram already is, I kind of like that valuation. I mean, if they can do at all like what they're aiming to do, I got to take a for sure a harder look at it, and like I got to see how much how much the token supply and all that crazy stuff, and all the intricate details of the offering and the token and how it's going to work. And they're claiming a lot of like really, really revolutionary technology within the blockchain for faster transactions, like incredibly higher speeds of transactions, throughput, that kind of stuff. But I sense a lot of skepticism in the community about that. So I love Telegram. I think this Pavel guy is super smart. But I did see a critique of the Telegram ICO on the MIT Business Review. So for people who don't know, MIT is one of the most respected institutions in the US. It's Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's a university based in Boston, or close to Boston. Super smart people. Anyway, they have a publication called MIT Tech Review. And they kind of went in on the Telegram ICO, and they were saying they're making a lot of claims here that are very tough to back up given what we know about blockchain technology right now. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they can deliver. I think these people are super smart and they have as good a shot as any. And again, I don't even hate like the 1.2 or 2 billion valuation. I think it could be worth way more. But it's a lot of question marks.
I think, my biggest thing is they actually have a working product. And that is, to me, that's huge. I think we're seeing it now with Steemit, that coin. It's gone pretty crazy the last, month or so. And a big thing of that is they actually have a product. They have a platform that actually works. This is something that is so rare in crypto right now. Having something that actually does something, right now. Most of this stuff is so speculative, right? It's like they don't have anything. It's just, just a bunch of words, vaporware, right? It's just
and
what they're
the
thinking.
thing with Telegram, Telegram is a good product too. Like it's not just an existing super popular product. It's popular for a reason. Telegram is awesome. Like for people who don't know like messaging apps, I love it so much more than like WhatsApp or I think another one is Signal, which I haven't actually used.
Discord.
Yeah, Discord I fucking hate. I don't know why anybody
Slack.
ever uses Discord. I hate Riot. Telegram is so much better than all these choices.
I wish they would have had it when we were in high school and MSN was around.
You know what, dude? I hate messaging people on like iMessage now because I'm like I try to quote tweets or I try to quote messages on iMessage and I'm like, wait, you can't do that here? Like I can't respond to your individual message. I'm like, fuck. And so Telegram has all these amazing features. It just works. It works great. It's fast. It's secure. So I know I'm like giving Telegram a handy right here, but I really think it's a phenomenal app. And I'm super excited about the ICO.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it myself. I think like Prince, I'm gonna echo what Prince says is they've already got the working product out, which is huge, and I think it's gonna be pretty big. I don't think the valuation of it so far or what they're asking for is out of line by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and there's not much information out. Like we don't really know the technicals. Like we know they're claiming a lot of advanced things with the blockchain. I don't believe we even know when the ICO is right now. I think they're aiming for it to be within the next couple of months, but more specifically,
So they're having the pre-sale. I think the pre-sale's now or is starting soon, and the ICO I think is in March. Is set for March. I shouldn't say in March.
Oh, cool. I hope so.
So
that would be cool.
Yeah, so it says here they're seeking $850 million in private sale of tokens to large investors this month, which is January, and then 1.15 billion, which they put in edit, has been raised to 2 billion
Yeah.
in in ICO or in March. Sorry,
Okay.
wow, that was strokey.
For people who don't know, by the way, real quick, there's a bit of a Tezos update. I know we had some, obviously Tezos has had its fair share of problems. It's something a few of us, personally have dealt with and have been annoyed by and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so Tezos, as you heard, it's kind of a shit show right now. Some very smart people involved in the project, some very good technology. I think they're aiming to do some good stuff, but they've had this problem with the foundation and especially the foundation head, Johan Gevers. And Johan Gevers has not really communicated with the community. There's been zero updates on the progress. They haven't really contributed any of the ICO money towards furthering the protocol, which is kind of the point. And technically they're not obligated to, but they still should, I think, as the foundation head. As the people, the role of the foundation is to further the Tezos protocol. So if you're not doing that, why are you even there? Anyway, this guy has been radio silent for 6 months, like literally, hasn't said like a word. Just been completely just not in touch. Like nobody can reach him. He's not answering anything about why they're not doing anything. And he finally comes out I think 2 days ago, and he starts tweeting just this absurd nonsense. He's quoting himself and it's just quotes so you can tell he thought were super intellectual and stuff, but it just comes off as he's just patting his own back.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Let me read some of this. Actually, Prince, you can comment on this. Let me pull up some of these tweets.
It was ridiculous. You go through the comments and it's just a lot of pissed off people at the guy. It's pretty funny.
That's the thing. You look at his comments and almost 100% unanimously, it's all negative. Johan, you have to go. You've been screwing us all over for months. And it's almost all that. And so if you have this much community outrage in something that's supposed to be a decentralized project run by the community, I mean, Tezos' whole mission is governance by the people. And the people hate this guy in the foundation. And he's either a narcissist or a megalomaniac, and he just has no idea. He's not in touch with reality. But at least he's saying something now, which I'm happy. The guy's still alive.
Yeah, so they're giving updates, and he's saying he's trying to work forward, and help progress things. Whether that's reality or him just trying to put on a face, who knows? I guess that's still yet to be seen, right? But let's hope, fingers crossed, because I sure would like to get my money at some point from that.
Yeah.
But, I still believe that, once this actually launches, it will be huge.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
just gotta launch.
Yeah, and the market cap, even if you look at the futures, is still relatively small. If you look at their competition like Cardano, other kind of smart contract governance platforms, they're still pretty undervalued. I think given the technology, given how smart the people are involved, given how much money they do have, unless this Johan Gevers guy steals it, which is possible, but hopefully not.
Very possible at this point.
Yeah. So, okay, real quick, this is one of his tweets. This is a quote. This is in quotes. In a high-trust environment, the impossible becomes possible. In a low-trust environment, even the possible becomes impossible. And then it's -- Johan Gevers. So this guy's literally quoting himself in a tweet. I just even no matter what you think about the quote itself, to have not have
cringy.
the wherewithal and the sort of savvy to realize that's just kind of a bad look is
Dude.
it's worrisome. I don't know.
It's cringy.
And he puts it after he
Very
quotes
cringeworthy.
Elon Musk and Warren Buffett. So you can see he thinks of himself in that kind of vein, like a visionary, like a Steve Jobs type. Meanwhile,
But,
Monetas,
that's,
his other project, is bankrupt. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go Tezos. Woo.
Yeah. I think they're going to be fine, though. I really do.
I think
Yeah,
eventually
I'm not-
that they're gonna get their shit figured out and
Yeah.
Get
I
out.
believe everything will be okay in the end. It's just a thing of when it takes so long, people get fed up, right? We are used to right now a market where most ICOs will give you your coins almost immediately because they're all done just off of the Ethereum network, right? Well, that's not the case with Tezos because Tezos is its own network. And so because of that, things are going to take a little longer. And I think that's another thing where maybe we've gotten really spoiled with crypto is we don't have to be patient, right? We can get these wicked returns. We don't have to be patient to get these returns. So now we have Tezos, and it's something where, oh, you actually have to be patient and you don't have a choice.
Yeah, there's
because,
zero
you know,
liquidity. Nobody can sell anything
Yeah.
because nobody has any coins yet. So we are 6 or 7 months post ICO, and people can't even get out. So it's not the sort of thing where you can say, "Hey, if you don't like it, get out," because nobody even has their tokens yet. You know. And meanwhile, they're seeing the Ethereum and the Bitcoin that they donated skyrocket. So these people would have so much more money, so much more liquid. You know, people would be driving around in fucking Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And this Gevers fella is just trying to stop the fun. So I don't know what's going on. But still very confusing. A lot of questions, some answers, but not many. But I think it's going to be okay.
So do you feel better now, Killer, than the last time we talked about this?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I feel better. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's
I'm in a
what
better
matters.
mood.
All right, so we put out a tweet that said, what questions do you want us to answer? So we've got about 26 replies, and by God, we're gonna go through every single one and answer. Some of them are stupid, guys listening. Like prime example, one of my favorite people in the pod, Coin Maverick at Coin Maverick on Twitter,
Follow
wants
this
to know
man.
what color of panties we're wearing.
Thanks, Mav.
I
Thanks,
responded,
Mav. Great
and this is
question.
actually, in all honesty, I'm going commando today because I'm out of clean underwear. So I got to do laundry.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. It's Saturday,
Oh,
and I
nice.
don't really got to be anywhere. So
Prince is not wearing pants right now.
I'm boring and I'm wearing gray, so sorry.
Gray panties, Dale?
Yep. But when I spruce up and go to Kevin Hart tonight, I'm gonna probably put something lacy on.
Oh.
All right,
Little-
Crypto Cred wants to know when Moon, and in response to
When
that,
Moon?
this Crypto Faux Phoenix said Moon is for quitters when Pluto tomorrow.
Yeah.
York says how to buy. Send me your Bitcoin and I'll turn it into 2 Bitcoins, York.
True.
Roland Potter says this is legit. How can Ethereum be unrelated to Bitcoin price in the future? And is Neil a super centralized coin?
Ethereum and Bitcoin are different. So, okay, this is a very
Yeah.
quick analogy for looking at this. Bitcoin is digital gold, Ethereum is digital oil. Okay, and I say that because Ethereum is used to power applications, aka fuel, on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay, Bitcoin does not function like that, and it might with Rootstock or I don't know. I'm fucking that up. It's
Rootstock,
something.
yeah.
Their smart contract. Yeah. Anyway, so they're different. I mean, you can't value them the same way. You have to value them differently. One's a store of value. One is a decentralized application network. They're very different. I mean, they both use blockchain technology, but that's where the similarities largely end, I think.
what I'm looking for is to see as the market matures more, if we can see Ethereum and Bitcoin lose its correlation and such. I think on this dip, we were really shown that, you know what, Bitcoin still runs the show. The Ethereum chart almost was identical to the Bitcoin chart, their US dollar charts on that. So I'm looking forward to the day where the correlation might separate and they can do their own things, because I do believe that's warranted at this point. Ethereum is big enough. It is, solid enough, important enough to the ecosystem that it should, but Bitcoin is still king, so.
Yeah. This is another question we have that I really like. It's from Cockney, at Cockney Devil. His question is, it's often said around 95% of cryptocurrencies and projects will fail within about 5 years. Which 3, apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, do you think are set to succeed long term? In my opinion, I would say for sure Monero, I think, is going to be there.
Find something that is its own unique platform.
Yeah.
That's my big thing, right?
Yeah.
I believe protocols, those will survive. So stuff like Ardor, where it is its own, blockchain, really, that'll survive. Monero, Zcash, things like
It's got to have
this,
some kind of unique property that sets it apart from something that just can adopt the technology, because a lot of these blockchains are going to be able to adopt other blockchain technologies, but you have to have something more like a network effect or, more developers who are in tune with smart contracts, which is, by the way, one of the things that I think we're going to talk about too is sort of this Bitcoin maximalism idea, where, Bitcoin might be able to do everything eventually. But the thing is, Bitcoin's going to have a hard time implementing smart contracts. It's not an easy thing to do. So Ethereum's had a tough time with it, but Bitcoin developers are not just going to go, oh, we know smart contracts all of a sudden. It's a hard thing. And so a lot of the problems that Ethereum runs into because of smart contracts, Bitcoin will run into with smart contracts. So it's more complex than that.
growing pains.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you guys think we could beat Alex Jones in a 3 versus 1 bare knuckles fight to the death?
100%.
No chance.
He would have
No chance, as in he has no chance?
I don't think we'd have a chance. Alex Jones is a beast
Prince.
all on his own. He is
Prince,
a different
You're
animal.
6'10",
Yeah.
350.
Prince is 800 pounds
Alex-
of pure muscle.
Alex Jones is a different beast all on his own.
Prince is built like a Siberian tiger.
I would think we could easily take him.
Yo, 3 people? Okay, somebody go for the legs. I'll like blow out his ACL. Prince will just duff him. Dale will like hit him in the gut or kick him or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I gotta think
it
we would
won't- it
easily
won't be
take
that
him.
hard.
I'll just give him a titty twister.
There you go.
I will say
All right,
though,
so
I
here's a
feel like
legit
Alex
one.
Jones could like tap into some like savagery where he just completely like builds up a rage internally and he gets to the point where he's
Yeah.
just ready to blow up, like self-destruct, and he could cause some
Yeah.
damage. He's a big dude. I mean,
Totally
if he works
agree
himself
there.
into a
He's a-
rage, like one of
he's a
us is
different
probably
beast.
getting duffed.
But we do have the Canadian grizzly bear on our side.
That's true. Prince just delivers
I'd
like
say-
a hockey stick to his head.
Just body checks him. Here's a legit one. Mike PM74. Mikey Masters. I saw Milky, sorry. With so many coins out there, with so much potential as money comes in, how do you choose which ones you buy and which ones you pass?
It's tough. And I think a big thing is not having this whole idea of where you have to be in everything. We're in a market that as a whole is very bullish. So, thinking that you need to be in every coin at once and catch every move, well, that's just ludicrous. You're not, it's just not going to happen. So, and it sucks sometimes, you see a coin pumping and you're like, oh man, I wish I was in that. But you know what? Stick to your research, stick to your gut, and stay with what you're comfortable and Don't be chasing things just because, right? Like, it is hard. I don't even know half of the coins out there anymore. I've been here for, almost 2 years. And, it's like back then I had a pretty good read on all these coins and now it's just skyrocketed. So, and another good thing is get yourself a crew, people who you can trade with and talk with on a daily basis, because you're going to miss things. That's just how it is. You're not going to see everything that's going on in the market because there's so much going on. So you have different people in your little, your circle, your connections, and they can help you out, see things that you might have missed, right?
That's such a good point. And also they're going to correct you on some of your bad ideas that you do not realize are bad ideas. So by putting your thoughts out there, you'll have people, that view something from an angle that you never even considered. And so that's going to make you smarter because you'll look at future situations kind of in a different lens. And it goes back to how we talk about knowledge is compounding. Join a community, join a Telegram chat, preferably Baby Pod. But just anyone you can find, with anybody and be careful that you're not taking advice from, stupid people. Kind of research the advice you do get and see how much of that's based in evidence, how much is, it's hard sometimes, but what do you think, Dale?
I my first week or two in this space, I was on I just joined crypto Twitter, and I saw Jabus, who was on a bender, and he had alluded to, send him a PM if you had questions. So I just sent him one, and I just said, look, I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking, I'm not a dipshit asking for freebies, but what's your one piece of advice that for someone new, what is it? And he said, network. So just to compound on what Killer says, that's what I would say is how many times do I bounce ideas off people in the pod and they're like, duh, Dale, you're dumb, but here's what you need. Here's what, I see where you're going, but this is what you should do. So it's nice to, if you're second guessing something and something maybe stinks like shit and you ask someone else and they agree, it just kind of builds your confidence.
Yeah, and it's like a life lesson too. Like you learn by being wrong. You learn by, it's tough to deal because nobody likes being wrong. It feels bad. You feel, oh, I'm dumb. Especially if you said something publicly in the past. It's like very tough to go back and be like, I was wrong. I screwed up. But
Yeah.
That's really how you learn, So don't be afraid to put yourself out there, put your ideas out there, and you'll learn a lot that way.
Mikey also said he's got about 87% of his total portfolio in 4 coins, and then the rest he's got sprinkled through about a dozen other coins. So he was wondering if he should consolidate those more.
I like these questions.
Wait, consolidate more than 4 positions?
No. He's got top 4 coins make up about 87% of his whole portfolio.
Oh.
But he's got about a dozen coins where he averages maybe 0.01 to 0.03 Bitcoins in.
How does yours look, Prince?
So, anyone who knows my trading style knows I trade a very concentrated portfolio. Now, there's a lot of people who would look at the way I trade and they would think I'm a complete idiot, but it works for me. I've made it work. I have a system that I follow. And I'm going to echo something that's been echoed a lot before through, times through investing circles is concentration to get wealthy and diversification to stay wealthy.
Mhm.
So if you really want to set yourself apart and try to really get some life-changing money, yeah, you might have to be a little more concentrated than, over diversified. But you need to be aware of the risks that come with this. I have a lot of people message me and they'll be like, how can I try and get a 10x or a 100x or something on my portfolio? And they're like, I got about 50 different coins. And, I'll say to them, it's like, I'm not going to tell you how you need to trade. You need to figure out what works for your personality because we're all different. I can sleep perfectly fine at night. I don't check the markets through the night. You know what I mean? And for my trading style, a lot of people would probably be losing sleep. They wouldn't even, they wouldn't be going to work through the week. But this is where I know myself. And this is a huge thing. You got to know yourself. So, if you aren't somebody who's, comfortable with the amount of risk you might be taking, yeah, diversify it. But just know your returns might not be the same as if maybe you're a little more concentrated. But there is a risk, there's upsides and downsides to it all, and you got to be aware of that.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I would just add, I just did the math for mine, and my top 4 positions are 82% of my holdings. And you know what? I feel comfortable about that. So I think your question was like, should you diversify that more? And, honestly, I kind of agree with Prince that, a lot of people over diversify just because it gets drilled into your head so much. But you really do want to make your good ideas or your best ideas count, because that's super important in terms. I mean, a lot of people in crypto are here because when they first get in, at least, they don't have much money and they're trying to turn it into a lot more money. And your best chance of doing that, like Prince said, is by concentrating positions. That's the truth of it, period. So it's going to be riskier. You're going to lose your ass sometimes. But if you really want to take a chance, I think we all kind of had similar situations where, I certainly did. I didn't have much money at all. And I just kind of went gung-ho into Ethereum and it worked out. But it's, so I think you're fine at 80% in your top 4.
All right, so moving on. I lied. We're not gonna read all of them because some of them are pretty foolish.
There's too many too. They're flowing in.
So Doug Bielecki, I'm sorry for butchering that, wanted to know our trading styles, buy, hold, day trade, what exchanges and why. I think we've pretty much answered the first part you guys have. For me, I'm a horrible day trader, so I don't day trade. I have maybe, couple $100, $500, I guess, USD that I play with on a day trade basis. But otherwise, I look myself into projects that I believe in, and then I buy, find good entries, and then hold until I'm happy with the profit. What exchanges? Basically all of them.
And that's smart, because that's part of intelligence is self-awareness. I totally think that, so if you realize I'm not great at trading or whatever, then realize that, or either, get better at it, improve, or just realize that and hold. Because I think a lot of people are really better off just holding. I got to be honest about that. I mean, if you look at equity markets, when they were less competitive, actively trading people had more success. And as they've gotten more competitive, passive people have gotten more success. People who just buy and hold whatever the index is. And I think something similar is going to happen in crypto. You can make a lot of money trading right now. I think that's going to be true for at least another few years as more capital flows in. But realize what you're good at, just exactly like you said, Dale. I think that's super important.
I think a great point to kind of echo on what you guys said is in the Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. It's kind of a book that it's based on the life of Jesse Livermore, who, if you guys don't know who Jesse Livermore, look him up. He's like, one of the great traders of Wall Street's times, and he's made one of the greatest personal fortunes, lost it, gained it all back, lost it again. He really lived that trader life in a sense. And he made a quote that, his biggest gains were just from him sitting, just sitting tight and just not doing anything. And I can speak from experience that, I would have a lot more money if I would have just sat on my hands at times, right?
I'm nodding my head aggressively right now for people who can't see.
Yeah. It's like, I remember buying Ethereum Classic. I had a bunch below $1 and I sold it, most of it over $2.50, $3, thinking I was, good trade. And yeah, it was a good trade at the time. Well, now it's over, over 35, right? I have another, I did the same with Ethereum back when it was around $7. I got rid of it around 20, thinking it was a good trade. Now it's, over 1,000. You know what I mean? So this whole thing where, yeah, in the moment, you might think you're doing awesome to be going in and out. But, a lot of times you can just crush it by just sitting tight.
Yeah,
You
just
know, if
wait.
the market's
And
going in your favor, just ride it.
keep your returns in perspective. Like I was talking about this with my brother the other day. I mean, literally, the stock market averages 8% per year over the past 50 years. Crypto averages that a day. Like your returns are incredible if you can just be patient. Like incredible. And so, yeah. So another question I want to get to: how do you get marginalized people into crypto by HODL the Future at HODL the Future with a nice Teddy Roosevelt avatar? I like it. Anyway. Marginalized people, I think that's going to be a matter of accessibility. I think you're really going to have it easily accessible, even for people in countries, where it's maybe there's less internet access on average. I think Africa is doing a really good job actually of like enabling a lot of their citizens to have mobile phones, and they're not really like building the internet like we have, like TCP/IP, but it's majority mobile. So that's going to be important because that's accessibility to coins, and that's going to lead to money flowing into coins. Which in turn is going to help those coins because they have more money to work with. The developers are more incentivized. So it's kind of this, chain reaction of adoption, I would say. So just accessibility is the most important thing.
Yeah, totally. One I want to get to, I was kind of scrolling through when one of you guys were talking about started laughing mid-sentence. So if it comes across on the recorder, I'm sorry. Hey, Paul Pleb says, ask Prince where I can exchange Bitcoin for some fucking hand warmers. Good question, Paul.
That's hilarious. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't even know. I'm sorry.
Okay, so here's one I do want to touch on from Lucas Chakinis. Maybe I'm sorry. These are horrible. I'm not strong when it comes to reading. I'm not exactly sure understanding the end of the question, but I'm going to kind of guess what he's going to. He says, how do you know when to sell your altcoins that you are no long on? So I'm assuming maybe he's meaning profit.
You aren't bullish on?
Yeah, let's just reiterate this. How do you guys know when to sell for profit on your altcoins?
It depends on the coin.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough, right? And I think you don't want to just take into account that coin on its own. Also look at the entire market, because a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if the market is bullish, your coin is probably going to stay bullish, right? Obviously, if it's done some insane pump and gone like 400 or 500% in a week, yeah, you might want to look at taking some profit, because you know what? As much as there's some crazy moves that can happen, there are also unsustainable moves, and those happen a lot in crypto as well. So it's a tough thing, but to me, it's a personal thing. There's never going to be a perfect, this is when you have to do it.
There's no easy answer. Yeah. There's no if it's up this much, sell. It's not like that. It depends on so many things. You really just have to trade and learn the environment and feel the emotions and see how it goes. And then you'll kind of know, but it's not an easy thing to answer. Another question from Just Jake. I wanted to answer this because, Jake, I know you messaged me the other day. I didn't get a chance to get back to you yet. It's been crazy as shit. But anyway, it's at Just Jake Make. His question is, forks, do you get both coins, and where do the coins have to be to claim? So the idea of a fork is very strange to people who aren't in crypto. It's like free money, and it really is just that. Where you go to claim it, where you go to claim it depends on the fork, the coin, where that coin is supported. I'll give you an example with BTC and BCH, which is one of the most famous forks, probably the most famous one. So on a hardware wallet, I mean, they implemented like a BCH wallet, which spun off of BTC. And so you could then open your BCH wallet, and it was just kind of there. Like you had an equivalent amount. And I know it seems completely ethereal and sort of phantasmical and like kind of crazy, I think I just made up a word. But that's kind of just what happens. It's like free money. It's nutty, but yeah, and it depends on how you claim it on the coin.
Yeah, it depends on the exchange too. Some exchanges will support forks. Some will refuse to support them. If you're on one that refuses to support it, you're probably not getting them.
Great point.
If you're on one that does support, you're in luck. You're getting some extra money. There's also, if you have a wallet that doesn't say support, like say a desktop wallet or something, but it doesn't support, say BCH, for example, but during that fork, there's still ways to get your coins. And now I'm not the guy to really ask about that because I haven't gone through it. but I know there are people who have done it, and so there is a way if you got it on your own personal wallet kind of thing, even if it doesn't show you that option.
All right, huge crypto guy Ricky says ASL. I'll start. Yeah, 31 male, Iowa.
I'm age, sex, location. So I'm 22 male in Calgary.
I am 28 male in California.
Okay, here's a good one too from Shaw. You got a bunch of numbers and shit after your name. What rules you all set in place to protect yourself from making idiot, quote, in the moment, unquote, trades? Asking for a friend, of course.
So I think something that's actually helped me a ton, because it's hard to avoid that, right? Human emotion. We're just people. So we will do stupid things sometimes. Our emotions will take over. Something that has helped a lot is having your coins, say, on a hardware wallet that doesn't make it so you can just log into your exchange and quickly sell if you want to in the moment, right? Having them on that hardware wallet, it's actually, and I know there's a lot of other people who will say this, it's saved their asses a lot, because you don't have that opportunity to just panic sell in the moment, right? You have to deal with the wait time on transferring it over to the exchange. And through that, you're going to start to think to yourself, oh, maybe I don't want to panic. And then you start reevaluating, you actually think a little bit more. So
yeah, it's a great point. It's like guard against yourself, because you know how you tend to react. I mean, we had Bully comment on it our last episode where he's like, I know I'm impulsive. I know I don't take profit. And that's very self-aware. And that's an aspect of intelligence. I really think it is. I said that before, but I really think that's true. So you got to know your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Another question we have from Pumpy McPumpface. Do you have any dream guests? If so, who? I would say Mr. Mark Cuban and Downtown Josh Brown. If either of you guys are listening, we'd love to have you on.
Mark, I have messaged you on Instagram for probably the last 30 days. Every fucking day. I'm not going to say my real name because I'm pretty sure you'll know who I am if you pull it open. So we'd love to have you on
letters.
Cubes.
Send flowers.
I just want to get Alex Jones on here.
Oh,
I do.
that's
I'd like
a
to
good
get
one.
him also.
Yeah, Alex Jones would be amazing. Okay, I think maybe one or two more. We'll kind of start to wrap it up. This is a question from 0x Now, who's been a long time. We followed each other. Now, I love you. Hope you're doing well. At 0xNA0 or NAO. Anyway, can you guys talk about US dollar Tether? It's starting to make me nervous. So I think Tether is probably bullshit. I think it's probably somewhat scammy. Do I think that's really going to have a negative impact on the ecosystem? Not really. I just don't think people really flee to Tether. So I don't think there's going to be like a run on Tethers where they're like, oh, we don't have the assets to back it up. Because I don't think people really convert to Tether before they go to cash. I think they sell it to Bitcoin. If it's an altcoin, they send that Bitcoin to Coinbase and they sell it to their bank account. I think that's how they do it. So I really don't think Tether's going to have that big a role.
Like I'm along the lines where, if Tether was to go down in flames, it would shake the market momentarily. There's no doubt about that to me. But in the long run, I think everything is going to be okay. Tether sketches me out a bit too, I'm not going to lie. And so when I want to get out of crypto and something stable, I'm usually going into cash because I don't really want to use Tether.
Yeah.
So, you got to make that judgment too for yourself, right? Make sure you have an exchange where you can go into cash if you got to.
And I got to say too, like usually the really big negative events are things that nobody sees coming. I mean, we've been talking about Tethers for like 5 months. Like people kind of get that there's something funky up with Tethers at this point, and clearly they don't care. Yeah.
Tether's not a black swan anymore.
No.
If it was to happen.
I agree. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, good questions. We appreciate that, everybody. Good stuff.
Yeah. What was nice is we put that tweet out about
a minute ago.
Yeah, 5 minutes before we started recording, and here it's still pouring in. So thanks again, everybody, for listening. Any parting words, guys?
No, we'll have to do this whole Twitter question thing again.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Maybe give people a little more heads up before we start recording.
Yeah, I've had a great time.
There's a lot of interest in it.
I've had a really good time doing this. So yeah, I'm glad we're starting to climb out of this hole we dug on Monday and Tuesday. So hope you guys have a great weekend. You'll probably hear this on Monday. And hopefully we'll be back in gear by that time.
Yeah, and I know we've been like I've got asked a lot for us to do like a live stream or a live show. We're kind of trying to maybe figure it out how to do it. It's in the works, that's for sure. So If I don't respond to you, it's because I've gotten asked 100 times if we will. So hopefully if you're listening, you won't ask me anymore. Thanks again, everybody. Take care. Tip your damn waitress. Peace out.